Everybody, my name is Hunter Nighbert. I am a financial advisor with MCF and more in particular a retirement planning specialist. And I'm super excited to be here today. A lot of work has gone into creating the content that you all are going to be exposed to over the next 10 weeks. So let me get my slide deck up and we'll get going. Like I said, if anybody has any questions in the meantime, up front, in the middle, or otherwise, feel free to unmute yourself and or send smoke signals, shoot a laser through the screen, whatever you need to do in order to do it. I'm here and eager for your questions. So you have signed up for the MCF Pre-Retiree Academy, and we're super excited. Obviously, MCF, through most of you in one way or the other, is the plan consultant for your retirement plan at your workplace, at various workplaces. We, with permission of the plan sponsors, we're able to reach out to people within a certain demographic that are getting closer to the years of retirement. And it was with the permission of those and the blessing that we sent you all, what we were trying to do. And we're thrilled at the interest level that we had for our first time. Just a reminder of, who MCF is. As you know, we are partner with your company's retirement plan committee. And then more specifically for you guys, we provide investment guidance for participants, and we monitor the investments in the plan and ensure the plan is also compliant with retirement plan regulations and laws. We are an independent registered investment advisor located in Lexington and just south of Cincinnati in Covington, Kentucky. Currently, we manage a little over $2.1 billion in assets. And I've been amongst the Financial Advisor magazine's top ranked RIAs in the United States, for a few years in a row. Again, my name is Hunter Nighbert. I've been with MCF for 6 years in July. I've been in the financial services industry for 23 years, and specifically as a planner and relationship wealth management relationship person for the past 14 years full time. Before that, I worked in the insurance and banking industry on all levels, and have a pretty solid handle. On the screen is my contact information. Feel free anytime you get any kind of content. If you have questions, if you don't understand something, if you want to break it down a little bit more, even if you have questions that we have not covered. I've already gotten a series of questions from a lot of people that have signed up in advance. I'm going to try my very best to cover some of those. Some of the questions, in some cases have been are very deep in the weeds, I should say, and it would probably make the most sense for us to just schedule an appointment and maybe talk about some of those and keep this at the highest level possible for the start. Again, my contact information, my direct email, this is my direct phone number, and right here you can see my calendar link. Most of your plan sponsor HR departments will have access to this. We will be sending this back out to everybody in there. You can click on this link. It takes you to my calendar, and you can schedule a call, a one-on-one call if you want to. But if you just have questions, feel free to email those. We can try to communicate that way, or you're more than welcome to schedule an appointment and we can get into some stuff deeper. Okay, so the Pre-Retirement Academy. So why would we do this? Why would our team, and I need to thank some of those people at some point in time, which I will before we get going real quick. there's a lot of people that I hand and help putting this together on all levels of our company. Alyssa Potter was really the driving force behind a lot of the behind the scenes stuff for this. Lacey also has done a great job internally, and from a compliance standpoint, Tim Gavin and our consultants on that end too. So I just want to say thank you for all the help for that. But back to the why. So, why would we create this informational course for pre-retirees within 7 years or so of retirement? Well, working in this space over my career has I've become more heavily involved in retirement plans, and working with participants, it struck me that some people just don't know what to do next. From things like assessing when to start drawing down your money, to how much to take out, let alone how much risk to take or not to take, or how long will your drawdowns last. It's really just sometimes even more elementary than that. Like, how do I access my money? What happens when I retire? How do I take it out of my account? Like physically, do they send me a check? Is it direct deposit? What is that process like? And I've seen a lot of these questions over and over since I've immersed myself in this part of our business. So I think, honestly, it's just something that was needed. And so we look at things when there's a vacuum and we can fill it. We're going to do that with content, and we're thrilled that you have come along to do it. Also, all of you have probably heard the adage that you don't know what you don't know. Well, what you don't know can destroy your retirement. And I'm not talking about like you can't take a trip or can't spend as much on Christmas for the grandkids. I'm talking about that what you don't know can cause you to go back to be a barista and work at Starbucks because you missed something critical. So for that reason, the most important part of preparing for retirement is learning and gathering information. And you're here, so that's a really great start for everybody. But there's a lot to consider, and whether you're going to handle all of this yourself or work with an advisor, our goal is to give you a more solid foundation and knowledge and things to consider, and even perhaps more confidence about your retirement prospects than where you're at today. And immersing yourself in this process is not always easy. And so we're here to help you and kind of, coach you up a little bit on just the basic stuff. So, through this 10-week course, so to speak, there's going to be a variety of topics. They're going to be covered by a combination of delivery methods. So we're going to have live webinars, PDFs. There's going to be some PowerPoint presentations that are directly sent to you guys. Those will have notes with them. And again, I've already had some great questions of things to cover, which is awesome. And I'll do my best to get all of those answered that have already been asked or worked into the content, or at least prepare to cover them in Q&As on live webinars or returned emails. But I can't say it enough. I encourage everybody to ask questions in the live webinar, or feel free to contact me if you feel stuck or confused along the way. If there's something specifically you have questions about that you want me to cover that you haven't asked or we haven't gone over, please email me or just, again, ask questions in the live webinars, and I will answer those in real time or via email or a one-on-one appointment. So really quickly, we're going to go over the topics that we're going to be covering kind of over this course. Today, we're going to get into crunching the numbers and gathering data, taking stock of assets and liabilities. That's kind of building a net worth statement, helps determine where you're at, set a budget. You can't know where you're going until you know where you're at this point. And you don't know how much you should pull out if you don't have a budget. And even though It's on down the road. We have to plan for what it might be, and we need to plan for what it is right now in today's terms. We're also going to have a great slide deck in covering and understanding Social Security benefits. One of my favorites, and I think one of the more advantageous topics within the course is going to be determine the amount determining your retirement withdrawals and different approaches on how to draw your money. Really good stuff there. We'll give you different ways and approaches that you can take it from simple to more complex. And then, of course, I'll give you my opinion on which ones that we use in most cases here at MCF. We're also going to help you, give you some content on how to evaluate your current risk profile, and kind of give you an idea of what that might need to look like as you move forward in the next, 5 to 7 years towards that retirement window. And then certainly once we do retire, what you should be thinking in terms of risk. We're going to talk about keep adding to your savings. You're not retired yet. We can't stop. And some people, for what you want to do, we not have to make up the difference. So the grind and the sacrifice is not over yet, but we're going to cover that. Review or create an estate plan. Something I always cover in one-on-ones, and we've got a nice slide deck on that as well. And might even have some surprises for you in terms of maybe a recorded webinar on that. Stay tuned. And then life insurance needs, just kind of reviewing what your current life insurance situation, if you need further life insurance, ways to approach that. Evaluate your health. And this seems strange, but we'll talk about it in just a little bit, but there's a lot of components to this retirement readiness, and emotional readiness is something that we need to be ready for. And evaluating your health while you're still working, taking advantage of your health plans that you're in now, and understanding those needs that you might have going forward are pretty important. But the emotional part is one I don't think everybody is 100% ready for quite yet. Medicare basics, really good content on that will give you the breakdown of not only what each Medicare supplement and plan is, but how to register, and a lot of links and websites directly to Medicare, so you can be prepared for that. And then, maintaining a plan. So basically what we're doing through all this, you're creating a mini financial plan for yourself. And when you make a plan, the plan is not done. When we work with clients and we create a financial plan, it has to be adjusted. Life does not happen in a straight line. And so sometimes we need to make changes to those. Maintaining that plan is probably, or not probably, it is more important over the long run than just getting started with it. And then, of course, if you're going to work with an advisor, we can give you some tips of what to look for in terms of that space. So, just what is retirement readiness? Well, retirement readiness is your ability to live the retirement lifestyle that you imagine. Some of the determining factors include, Social Security, pension benefits, retirement plan benefits, and potential retirement income, healthcare costs, and then, as I just mentioned, emotional readiness. It's a big part of the game. For the purposes of simplifying this discussion, let's take a closer look at really what that is. But I've broken it down into 3 categories. The big picture, which is, things like retirement income, Social Security, healthcare costs, retirement budget, psychological effects, those kind of things. The details, which are, that's where you get into the investing principles and risk tolerance, the withdrawal strategy that I talked about. What's your tax situation going to look like? Are there ways that you can structure some things that way? Inflation. I think everybody is got some concern, at least most of my clients that I've talked to has some concern of short-term inflation or some inflation of some sort. How does that affect your retirement? Where you're going to live, if you're going to need long-term care, estate planning, and then, of course, additional considerations or other resources and that kind of thing. But as you think about your retirement goals, here's a few questions that you all should try to consider. What type of lifestyle do you hope to enjoy? Think about the impact, think about how that might impact the amount of money that you need as you envision that retirement, and as you need to save. You might need to slightly save more, and so we've got some more work to do. You might be right on track for exactly what you want to do, but we have to kind of have that in mind up front. What will your living situation be? Will you still have to pay a mortgage, still pay a rent? How does that affect your flows? Will you stay where you are? Are you going to move to a different area that is less expensive or more expensive? Maybe you're going to move closer to family and it just happens to be more expensive. So what other costs do you need to bear in mind? I always, you're going to hear this say over and over, but you all know it to be true. I'm not telling you anything you don't know here, but medical costs and care continue to rise, and lifespans really pre-pandemic were continued to increase, meaning that that life expectancy continued to go up. It's been affected a little bit by the pandemic, but those are just averages, and we think that the averages will continue to rise over time. How much money does it take to retire? So many financial advisors recommend saving between 70 and 90%. In our case, we recommend 80% of your pre-retirement annual income to kind of maintain that current standard of living that you have. And when I say pre-retirement income, that's kind of where you're at now. I mean, just the type of income that you alone or you and your spouse have together. If you're married, those income levels are what you're striving to replace. How much does it take to retire? Do you need $500,000, $1 million, more? Well, everybody's different. And so that 80% is really puts you in a good place. 80% or higher, so it puts you in a good place for no lifestyle adjustments and to be able to kind of achieve your goals, if you will, if you're able to do that in and through retirement. Of that 80% replacement income, about 50% of that comes from your employer's savings plan, such as your 401ks or your 403bs that you guys are currently in, or maybe it's a 401a or possibly a pension as well. So all of those sources are, 50% of that comes from that. Here on the screen is going to be the sources that make up the entire 80%. So let's dive in deeper where that income may come from. So, a secure retirement often depends on either several or different sources of income, like the one shown here. Social Security obviously is going to impact, I think, most everybody on the call. Personal savings, your qualified retirement plan or pension, we talked about that. Incomes from assets, so like dividends or incomes from dividends from your brokerage accounts or other investments obviously play a major role. Income from trust, estates, rental income, or for some of you might be in play. Royalties, depending on if you have some commodity stuff going on as well. But all of those are very important. Income from earnings, it's a big misnomer just because you retire that you kind of quit working. A lot of people just quit working full time, and others identify labors of love or volunteer work, which may not produce income, but obviously produces quality of life returns, which are very important, the same. But just because you retire doesn't mean you might not have a side job or a part-time job, maybe doing something that you're still passionate about. Social Security, at any rate, it probably won't be enough to reach 80% of your of our replacement income recommendation by itself. So you're going to need additional income sources, by and large. I would say everybody on the call will. And after all, Social Security was developed as a supplemental and a safety net type plan, not as a primary income stream that many think that it is, or actually, unfortunately, look to it as as well. So, do you think you'll have enough to retire? So you can start to get a good sense by asking yourself some of these questions. Am I in a position to stop working? Meaning, can you still account for all your expenses once you stop bringing in your salary and or paycheck? What do your retirement expenses look like? Is your house paid off, so you won't have that mortgage payment? Again, we've covered what will those healthcare costs be? We've got some data that suggests of how much that goes up, and we'll get to that as we get into some of the healthcare stuff a little bit. Do you plan to have a supplemental income, meaning that side job? And of course, where you want to live, where you pick out to choose to reside. Cost of living is a real thing. It's much different of a cost of living here than it is up north, California, even some places in Florida. So very important to kind of determine those things. So, create a budget. And I know this seems, we all know who Dave Ramsey is and hear that. And I know, budgets make us feel like we're restricted. But I find the kind of opposite to be true. And we'll talk about it in just a minute when we get into the net worth statement that you'll get next, and kind of what to expect. But really, a retirement budget really helps you see where more of your money is going. It prioritizes your future spending. It may help your retirement savings last longer, and it really, budgeting can absolutely help you reach financial goals. So your retirement budget is a spending plan for the future and helps you see where your money's going. And it's a spending plan that accounts for all the income you expect to receive, and it allocates that and prioritizes where that needs to go. It can certainly help your savings last longer and maintain your financial goals. So creating a retirement budget in principle is like creating a budget for here and now, but the three main components that make up your budget are current monthly expenses, and there's two different types of monthly expenses, fixed and variable. We'll cover what those are in just a second. Needs and wants. Obviously, our needs and wants are two different things. What your expectation in retirement is, and what your expected monthly income will be, including Social Security, retirement plan withdrawals, and all the above. There's three questions that we have to kind of address, and this goes for if you're running a pension. It goes for if you are on this call, or myself as a planner. It is, when do you need your money, how much, and for how long. And I kind of say jokingly, this would all be quite easy if we knew the last one. If I knew when I was going to check out, I would have it all spent the day before, right? That's kind of nature, I think. So, but we don't know those things, but we have to prepare for longevity. So what are fixed expenses? Typically, fixed expenses include car payments, mortgage, rent, insurance, premium, real estate taxes. Typically, these expenses can't easily be changed. But on the plus side, they're easy to budget for because, they generally stay the same when you pay them on a regular basis. Some fixed expenses, I might point out, are discretionary. It might be things like a gym membership or a streaming service subscription like Netflix. Everybody got into Netflix over the pandemic. But keep it, just because it's a fixed expense doesn't mean it can't be discretionary. Variable expenses, one way of describing variable expenses is that they represent kind of your daily spending decisions. Do you buy conventional, or in my house, my wife's a dietitian, or do you buy organic produce? Some cost more, some cost less. Do you get Starbucks or make coffee at home? Not all variable expenses are discretionary, because variable expenses are defined as ones that may vary each month. So there are quite a few necessities that are variable expenses. In fact, buying your gas, that obviously gas has gone up over the last couple of months. That is a variable expense. Maintenance, car repairs, utilities. We do have some control over those kind of things, but they tend to fluctuate over the course of the year. And then additional retirement expenses that could be on your radar, relocation if you're going to move, maybe home improvements after you retire. You might want to build those in before. Vacations, hobbies, caring for aging parents. This is becoming more popular. Grandchildren, or maybe if you're blessed enough and things, you've done a great job, a second home, those kind of things. But it all starts with creating a budget. So you're going to need to create a budget for today before you can kind of create that retirement budget. And it's important to know what your current expenses are and ones that will likely change in retirement. For example, one you'll no longer have when you retire, such as those mortgages and things like that. Let's see. There we go. So to simply put it, you just kind of need to know where you are before you can know where you're going. We talked about that a little bit before, and it's important to plan for unexpected expenses, to build in some of that cushion as you all are looking into your own budgets, I hope. So, you're going to get some stuff on kind of that budgeting in the second second week, the second profile. In week 3, you're going to be provided with a personal financial statement template, also known as a net worth statement. Once your monthly budget is completed, really tracking a net worth statement can also help plan for retiring debts prior to retirement. And I really think that keeping an eye on a net worth statement is beneficial. You heard me say before that budgeting seems very restrictive. I find it rewarding in the fact that when my wife and I choose to budget for a vacation, we save for there, and then when we take that vacation, it's rewarding knowing, what we picked out worked within the framework of what we're trying to do. In a net worth statement, I think it's even really kind of cooler because you see your value, your liabilities go down and your assets go up. That is reflected in the net worth statement as you're retiring debts, particularly at a higher rate. And it is, it becomes less restrictive in terms of your mind of that sacrifice when you see the progress of your net worth and your savings or debt to savings change. And so I think that there's a beneficial mindset shift that comes with tracking your own net worth when considering those adjustments for your financial goals. And like I said, it's very satisfying when you see that debt go to zero or whatever it is that you're trying to do. That progress reaffirms the action plan that you created and that you're taking in any case. And a net worth statement, keeping a running total of that is very good. So what is net worth? Net worth is simply your assets minus your liabilities. And things like checking account, savings account, retirement savings account, brokerage accounts, real estate, automobiles, you can add collectibles or those kind of things in there if you want to. Um, you know, anything that has value in terms of like a real value. So liabilities, obviously credit cards could be part of that. Personal loans, student loans are really big for the younger generation. Hopefully you all are past that, but also an example of a liability. Mortgage loans, auto loans and leases, and or other debt. So in week 3, you'll get a template that's going to help you keep track of that. And I'd really recommend you all do it. So before we kind of wrap up here on today's session, on the 12th, you're going to get, this is the timeline of the course over the next 10 weeks and the content that is going to be coming your way. And so I hope you guys stick with me. If there's something you miss, we will be recording the live webinars and sending those out. We'll have some pre-recorded webinars that'll be a little bit quicker, more condensed, obviously, so we're not overwhelming you with a 40-minute. I'm trying to, keep these things as time efficient while giving you the benefit of good information at the same time. But on the 12th, you should expect the set your retirement budget piece, and then that worksheet for the net worth statement. Then we'll cover understanding your Social Security. You'll get a great PDF document with some on the drawdown equation, meaning, determining your withdrawals. Then we'll cover evaluating your risk on May 3rd. May 6th, you'll get the piece on keep adding to your retirement savings, review your estate plan or get one, reviewing your life insurance policies, a written piece, evaluate your health. It's a checklist that I think you can find beneficial, and then the register to switch your insurance to Medicare. Our boss, Dave Harris, found one of these laying on the printer and really gave us some kudos. So I feel pretty good about that because there's a lot of really good detailed information in with that. And then we'll kind of wrap it up really at the end. Bringing it all together, kind of bringing all these pieces in together and show how they work. We'll kind of give you some, some pointers of what to look for if you're going to be interviewing or talking to financial advisors. We might even show you some samples of what a comprehensive financial plan looks like in terms of some snapshots and things like that. We'll keep it light. So in conclusion for today, let's get started. I'm super excited. I really want every one of you all to reach out to me if you have any problems. But anything worthwhile, any goal you're trying to reach, it takes planning, and then it takes an action plan. It takes execution of that plan. Sometimes it takes adjustments within the plan as we maintain it. And but as long as being engaged by yourself or being engaged in this process, and you all are because you signed up, it's really half the battle. And you don't have to know everything, but we want to expose you to some things that are going to be important. The drawdown equation is very important. For example, there is a risk called sequence of return risk that you'll learn about and how to avoid that. Most people don't even know what that is. And so even if you don't just know the bare bones of it, you're going to be, light years ahead of quite a few people. So I'm going to stop sharing. And then does anybody have any questions? No questions at all? Well, if you're being shy or it's just a lot to begin with, I completely understand, which is one of the reasons I really wanted to make sure that everybody is able to reach out to me individually. As you go along, I'm going to be certain that you're going to have a few questions here and there. If there's something you're not seeing in some of this content that's not live or recorded that you want to know about, then let me know. And I will be sure to do that. Sherry just had a great question. Thanks, Sherry. Do we have to register for each session, or are we already registered for all of them? You are already registered for all of them, and you'll get email reminders about the live ones, and the recorded ones will come straight to you. So yes, you're already in the loop because you've signed up. You'll continue to stay in the loop. If for some reason you feel like you've missed something, again, let's communicate. Let's reach out. But that's an excellent question. Excellent question. You know, I'm looking forward to kind of interacting with you guys and kind of, you know, seeing where this takes us. Again, you know, I take topics that I generally cover with people that they may not, you know to cover themselves. And so we're going to expand on those. But I really want you guys to really, you know, I promise you I've not covered everything. And if there's something you want covered, even if it's not in the content, I want to make sure you kind of get that feeling of it. But, you know, it doesn't sound fun doing these things like creating a budget and doing that. But, you know, we really don't know how much we can take out unless we know how much we need to live the way we want to live. So it all comes in an order. When I develop a financial plan for someone through our software or otherwise, I have to know what your spending is. And most of the time, it takes some time going back and forth a couple of times to kind of get it right, because we don't always, we miss something. We gather a bunch of information, you know, we can try to remember, but I promise you that I don't have everything in my budget that I account for on a regular basis. I should, but I don't. Now, when I update my plan, I try to incorporate stuff that I didn't have in there, and that's kind of the point of it. So it's, you know, some of this stuff is a little arduous at first, but just go through the process. The net worth statement, it changed my mindset on budgeting. No one likes to give up something. We want to be able to do what we want to do, kind of things. And really seeing that net worth move kind of changed my perspective on it. And I have a friend who's in this business that really specializes in budgeting, has he does a private group session for people that actually pay him to help them. And it was one of the things that he got me doing, and it really did change my mindset pretty quickly. But he has people track their net worth statement like every 2 weeks. I don't do that, and you don't necessarily need to do that. But, you know, because what happens is that you know, you kind of get that hit of dopamine when you see, you know, your credit card go down and your net worth go up. And you know, but stick with it. If you have any questions, need help with anything, I can't stress enough for you all to reach out. I am so excited that you all took the time out of your busy schedules to be engaged in this process, and I really look forward to working with you guys and interacting with you guys in the future. Any more questions at all? I'll give you the last second, and then I will let you all go get to dinner because it is 6:13. Not too bad. I kept it under an hour. That's pretty good for me because I'm usually pretty talky. You're very welcome. Thank you. Well, if that's going to be it, then I'm going to go ahead and end the session. I appreciate y'all being there, a part of this, and I will. You all will get a recorded session of this if you need to refer back. If there's something that you don't understand, again, reach out and we'll get it clarified for you. You all have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.